The work that I do is I work with women to help them manage their finances.
What gives you joy to do what you are doing?
It's more about impact because that is a thing that is going to give you the joy.
The money story. How did you coin that?
The money story is made up of, again, the things that you learn in childhood, the way you internalize the things that happen to you, the traumas that happen to you.
Are you an expert in psychology?
I do have the tools that I use with my clients.
How do you build this attitude or refine this mindset so that now you have dissected the problem, you know what it people are suffering from? So could you tell me a little bit about yourself, quite briefly?
Okay, so I am an accredited financial counselor, and the work that I do is I work with women to help them manage their finances. And the reason I do that is because of my personal journey of a late life divorce and recovering from that and rebuilding my finances. And I was able to do that because I work with a coach. And so now I do that with other women. So my main platform, of course, is Sev Talks Money. And I do corporate workshops and work one-on-one with women.
All right, that's lovely. So, but what really was motivating you into the financial aspect of what you do? Of course, you are mainly helping women to sort of fix their financial, call it problem or whatever. Yeah, what led you to that part? I mean, why that part?
Well, I have had a natural affinity for numbers for ever since I can remember. Because my dad at 15 years old put me on his bank account because he said I was good with numbers. I ended up becoming an accountant because I was just great with numbers. And I was always tagged, every church that I went to, I was tagged to be the stewardship director. Again, because of that affinity for numbers. But the impetus really for me doing this work is really my divorce, a later life divorce, because I've always saved, I've always invested, I've always done those things, but it was never intentional. It was, okay, you're supposed to save, so I'm saving. You're supposed to invest, so I invest. And the going through that divorce opened my eyes about intentionality. And I wanted other women to have the same hope that I had when I rebuilt my finances. And so I decided I'm going to go into that work because I saw that it helped me and I wanted to help them.
Thank you so much for that. How much I really love that. I really do. Because here in Obehi Podcast and also in A Classes Media, and of course, everything that we do is about impact. We like to be able to do our things with intention. We are really doing this because we want to do this. Yesterday, I was talking to a client. I was telling her, she was connecting from the UK. I was telling her how much important is it for us to do what we do, not just, okay, the money is important.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing that. Of course, I'm talking to you as a financial expert. So that is not to disregard money. But I'm telling her, it shouldn't be because of the money that you are doing what you are doing. You should be doing it because you really want to make an impact, like to affect people in a particular way, this should be moving you, which is to say, but what if you don't make enough money? Are you still going to do it? But what if you find $1 billion on the road? Are you going to do this? Because if you are really moved to do which is the impact about it, then it means you are going to be satisfied doing it. You're going to be happy doing it.
Yes, I totally
Did that
agree.
make any sense to you? Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree because it's more about impact because that is a thing that is going to give you the joy. Because if money was the object, we would have more happy people in the world because they're always chasing money because they're never happy. But when it's joy and impact and fulfillment is the purpose, then the money, yes, you want the money because you have to pay your bills, but
Yeah, yeah,
the
sure, sure.
money becomes intertwined with that joy. It's kind of secondary and it's important, but the joy of seeing someone else get it when you try to help them with something or you try to make a difference in someone's life and they get it, and you see them thriving because you were able to help them set on that path. There's nothing like it. It's priceless.
Thank you for that. And now let me ask you like this. Um, what give you joy to do what you are doing? You see, I just talked about impact. No, okay. Now, before I ask you that question, I want to clarify something. Of course, many of the people that are following us here already know this. That I have a signature program that I call Own Your Story. Now, when people start this process, the way it is designed is that I just tell you, close your eyes. Now, imagine that you are now 85, 90 years old. You have lived your life. What story do you want to tell about the life that you have lived? How do you want that to be? How do you want those moments to be? Because at 90 years, at 85 years, you really cannot do very much. You are basically recounting the life that you have lived. Only that right now, you still have the chance because you haven't lived that life yet. So go back home and we walk forward from there. So this
Mm.
is a kind of the impact we're talking about. Okay, now looking at you, what is the joy? What gives you joy in doing what you are doing? Helping people to find or to fix their financial situation.
Yeah. Wow. For me, I think, well, at 85 or 90 years old, I'll still be doing a lot. But to your question, because there's longevity in my family, but to your question, I think knowing that I was able to speak into the lives of women and men, and young people, that I was able to
Thank you
speak
for
into
that. That you also include the men.
yeah, yes, because my mission is really to impact women because women are usually not the CEO of their homes. The men usually are. The men are the ones who usually handle the money. So when women go through a divorce or they lose their jobs, they're now having to learn about money in a later part of their life. So this is why I focus on women, but that doesn't mean I don't include men and young people in my mission. But really, at 85, 90, looking back, I want to be able to say, my daughter is now carrying on my work. Even if she doesn't do this work, she has learned enough from me to be able to speak into other people and say, you need to save, you need to invest because it's going to help you later in life. Um, to be able to say, point to somebody and say, I made an impact on that person's life. And now they are making an impact in other people's lives. Because the women usually are the ones who are teaching the young people in their homes. They're the ones who are the community organizer, so to speak. And so when you impact them, they're impacting not just themselves and their family, they're impacting the community. So I think at 85, 90, I should be able to look back and point to a few people who are carrying on the work, even if it's not in the same way.
All right, that's lovely. Now let's look at the people that you are working with, people that you are helping. You are helping them to fix their financial problem, meaning there is a problem. What do you think lead to that problem so that now they have to deal with it and they need people like you to help them fix the problem? In effect, I'm asking, what is the origin of this problem? A kind of the generality of it.
There are many origins. The us being in a financial bind come from so many things. So it's very hard to generalize, but I can say that our family history, how we see our parents managing money or not managing money, how we see society, the expectation society has on how we should manage money. For example, we see social media and we think being rich means having a big house and a nice car, but we don't know how much debt that person has to support that lifestyle. So it's really our how we were brought up, our money story, so to speak, and how those things impact the way we now look at money. And when I talk with clients, the first thing I do is talk about your money story. I start with the things that cause you to behave the way you do. Because two people can be in a home, grow up in the same home, and they handle money completely differently because they internalize what they hear differently from their parents. So we have to start with the individual. How do you view money? What is your money story? What are the things that impact you? And how do you look at money because of those things? That's where we have to start, because financial freedom is not about money. It's really about our mindset and our lifestyle, how we view the world, how we view our money. So that's really where we have to start, with the mindset. And then we can talk about the numbers, because the numbers aren't the issue at all. It's really how we view the world. And then what are the things that impact the way we view the world and the way we view money.
Thank you so much for that. In fact, there is a word I never heard of today. At least I never heard of till now. Of course, I never put the combination together like that. The money story. Tell us more
Yes.
about that. What is that? How did you coin that? I think it makes a lot of sense. What is money story?
Yeah. I didn't coin that phrase. It came from some psychologists that did some research with people. And really, the money story is made up of, again, the things that you learn in childhood, the way you internalize the things that happen to you, the traumas that happen to you. For example, let's say your parents, whenever they had an argument, the mom or the dad would go buy something, or they would bake a cake and eat, or something. They did had some kind of habit when there was trauma in the home, or if they were upset because of something that happened at work, then when they come home, they behave a certain way. The dad may beat up on the mom, or the mom may beat up on the kids. So those kinds of things are what forms our story. And if they're related to money, that forms our money story. So uncovering that, the psychology behind the way we think about money, is very important. Because if I'm going to give you a budget and say, here is your budget, work on your budget, and then I leave you alone, I work with you for 2 weeks and you're fine, then I leave you alone, what is going to make you continue working on your budget? I have to help you uncover why you spend money the way you do. And that's because of your money story. That impacts the way you spend money the way you do. So I have to help you uncover that, to see, aha, the reason I don't want to save is because I saw my mom saving. She lost all of her money. And so I don't realize that I internalized that. And I'm saying, I'm not going to save, because if I do, I'm going to lose all my money. And as simple as that is, that those are the messages that we hear, and that's our money story. So, it's very important to understand that.
Thank you so much for that. That is really very important to understand that. You are so right. But do you have to undergo a special kind of training to help people reveal that part to you? Are you an expert in psychology? Could you say something more about that?
I have some tools that I use, that I start my client off with. One of them is a program called Money Habitudes. And then I also have a program, not a program, it is a PDF that I use that helps you uncover what type of money personality you have. Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Or are you a money avoidant? Do you avoid talking about money? So those programs help me to help my clients identify who they are, and then we can work forward. So I didn't discover those, but I do have the tools that I use with my clients.
That's lovely. That's really lovely, because we do need to. We need tools to be able to uncover the things. What are tools? Tools are just the instrument that we use, and we have been using tools since the ancient time. Because how do you build a house? You need the tools to be able to set the block, to be able to carry it, to be able to lay out everything. So yeah, it's important to use tools. Then you also made
Yeah.
mention of mindset, and then you said something to the effect that uh, financial literacy is not really about the money; it's about the mindset.
Yeah.
That is it's very enticing. I want you to break that down a little bit more for us.
Yes. I think of the person who always say, if I had more money, my life would be better. And they're always saying that if I had more money, my life would be better. They get a raise. They get a new job with more money. They win the lottery. And what happens? Nothing. They may be worse off because it was never about the number. It was never about the money. It was about your attitude towards the money. Because if you say, I'll be better off if I get a raise, and you get the raise, what happens? The next 6 months, you're unhappy and you're looking for another raise or moving to another job. So the way you think about money and the way you think about your life overall is so very important, because we all have peaks and valleys in our lives. We all have things that take us up and make us on feel like we're on the mountaintop, and then things that really make us feel depressed. We all go through stages, but the thing that's going to make a difference is our mindset, how you look at those things. Do you look at those valleys as an opportunity to learn lessons that you can use to build? And it's the same way with our money. When we are chasing money, why are we chasing money? Why are we wanting that new job? Why are we wanting another raise when we said, I want $1,000 raise and we got it? So now what? It's really looking at, what is my why overall? What is my overall why? And then building our lives around that. Because if we don't have a why, if we haven't made up in our mind what it is that we really want to achieve in life, we'll always be chasing the money and thinking that's going to bring us happiness. And it won't. It won't. Money, again, I love money, okay? So I'm not saying that at all. I love money because I have to pay my bills and I love going on vacation. But it's really, is it the money, or what is it that I want in life? And how is that money complementing that? It's never about just the money.
Lovely, lovely. Whoever say it doesn't need money or doesn't like money must be out of his mind or her mind.
Yeah, they can give it to me. They can give me their money.
All right. Attitude and mindset. Those are the things that you were using to sort of break this down for us. But that leads us to this important question. How do you build this attitude or refine this mindset so that now you have dissected the problem, you know what the people are suffering from? But how do they overcome it so that they can be on the other side of it? Tell us about those strategies.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that they can do is work with a coach. And I want to give a caution here, is that anybody can call themselves a coach, because the coaching industry is not regulated. Okay. Anybody can get up tomorrow and say, I'm a coach. So be careful who you choose. Make sure you're looking into their credentials and make sure that they're trained. But you can work with a coach who will help you. And we have to be careful too, not to go to somebody who's going to say, do affirmations, do all these things, because that's not it completely. This coach can help you dig into your past to see why you think the way you do, and they need to be trained. We have financial therapists who can help you relate your finances to your money mindset. I'm not a financial therapist, but I use some tools to help you with your finances. As an accredited financial counselor, I help you use those tools. And then if I see that you need deeper mindset work, I have financial therapists that I'll refer you to really dig into that. So I would say first, get a professional to help you. Another thing that you can do is read books. Read books about mindset. Read books about people who have been in really bad situations and they were able to overcome. What are the things that they did? What are some practices that they had? Because our habits form us. Our habits really inform our lives. And some of us have really bad habits. We get up in the morning and the first thing we do is get on the phone, and then we are impacted by what we see other people doing instead of determining, I'm going to get up this morning, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to speak some positives in my life. My actions are going to line up with my deeper why. My actions and the things, the way I deal with people, the way I talk with people, the way I view people, the way I look at my job today. I'm going to go in because I need to give 100%. Those kinds of things, it becomes habitual once we practice them. But again, the mindset thing is not going to be easy to root out because habits form quickly and they're hard to break. But work with a professional and read books and feed your mind with the things that are going to help you grow and have that mindset that's going to help you advance in life. Because here's the thing, if we hang around with 5 people who are negative, we're going to be the 6th one. If we hang around with people who are thriving and who are trying to make life happen, we're going to be the 6th one in that group because we are around that kind of atmosphere. So we have to be very careful of the friends we have in our lives. What are they speaking in our lives? Because there are people who are so negative, so those kinds of things all combine, and I'm sure I'm leaving something out, to help us have that mindset that is positive, and that's going to advance us to help us to achieve the things that we say we want to achieve in life.
Thank you so much for that. Now, people want to learn more about you. Okay, they hear what you're saying and they are really interested in learning more. How do you usually go about that? Do you have a book out there, a course, or a website, or tell the people how they can learn more from you, just like learning or something that they can grab on the hanging tree, or hanging fruit, you will call it, and then before they can go deeper with you by signing up for the program. What do you say?
Okay, so my book is half written, well, more than half. And the title of it is going to be, It's Never Too Late to Begin Again.
Lovely.
And it's going to be my personal finance journey, how I recovered my finances and rebuilt my credit, and the things that I did to make it. However, my home, so to speak, is my website. And that is sevtalksmoney.com. That's SEV talksmoney.com. On there, you can link to my podcast. You can link to my YouTube. You can link to my LinkedIn and all my social media. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I post things on LinkedIn, and I also have a newsletter that I post. So if they want to get on LinkedIn, and I also have an email newsletter. So if they want to get connected with me in all those ways, my best place to find me is on my website. Again, that is sevtalksmoney.com.
All right, they cannot miss that. Thank you so much. Now, what will be your final thought here? Well, how do you want to close the conversation with the people that are listening to you right now?
I want to let people know that none of us were born knowing about personal finance. So give yourself grace if you are finding that you have made some financial hiccups, some things that, I wish I hadn't done that. Give yourself grace. And then shake that off and go get the help that you need. Don't beat yourself up and wallow in it, because there are none of us who has ever walked this earth who has not made a mistake. Whether it's in life or with our finances, we've all made mistakes. The thing you need to do is find out how you can recover from those mistakes. And there are financial professionals like myself who can help you do that. And I do have a 15-minute free consultation for people who are wanting to explore whether or not I'm a good fit. And they can find that on my website. But give yourself grace, because there is always hope.
Wow, that is so lovely. And that is also very encouraging to letting people know that if you discover that today you have made an error in the past, you don't need to kill yourself now. You don't give yourself the opportunity to make it right. This is really beautiful. And of course, you have a lot of experts out there that you can reach out to. So yes, you can make it right. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And of course, for all of you that have listened to the end of this podcast, we are saying, don't beat yourself up. And you have experts here that can help you. And of course, let us know if this conversation make any sense to you. And of course, make sure that you subscribe to this podcast. And do share also with other people who are interested in a conversation like this. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, sister, for the time.
Thank you for having me.